Welcome everyone, Farmer Cop here. This is going to be a guide to the paper mill in Farming Simulator 25. This is going to cover the paper mill for all platforms, so if you play on Xbox, PlayStation, or PC, this is going to work for you. I am on PC, so the controls and the help menu in the upper left-hand corner are going to be PC controls, but if you'd like to know what they are for you, if you go into the menu, go into General Settings, turn on your help window. That way you can see what I'm seeing up in the upper left-hand corner. That'll help you out. This is also base game, so it's only going to cover base game factories, nothing modded or anything like that. All base game stuff. I also do tend to talk a little fast, so if you need to slow me down, you can use the YouTube controls down below to go ahead and do that. There are also time codes down below to skip ahead to a specific topic if you need to. What we're going to cover in this video is placing and buying the paper mill, the production inputs for the paper mill, using the paper mill, the products that the paper mill produces, moving pallets around, and the profitability of the paper mill. So if you want to skip to a specific one of those topics, down below, you can do that really easily. And also check out the first pinned comment down below too, if you are curious about something, because there might be something that's changing like that, and I'll put it down there if there's something that's changed or a tip or something else we learned about the paper mill. So just be aware of that. Let's go ahead and get into it. So placing and buying the paper mill. Now I am on Huton Pantai, which there is not a paper mill on this one. There is one on Riverbend Springs, and I don't believe there's one on Zelonka either. But if you were going to buy it, I'm just going to use the grain mill up here as an example, but you'll want to find wherever the paper mill is on your map, and then you'll want to go to it just by hitting visit there. Obviously, I know this isn't the paper mill, but buying any production point is going to have the same process. You're going to find the wrench, which should be basically where you spawned if you hit visit. You're going to come up to it, and then you're going to say yes to buy it. Again, I know it's the grain mill. Pretend like we're buying a paper mill, and then you're going to own it. If you want to sell it off, go into the build menu, click on the production building, and you can sell it off just like that. You are going to take a loss on it. But once you do sell it, if you decide later to come back, you can repurchase it by coming up here and doing the same thing. So that is how you can buy one that's already placed on the map. However, if you already have a place in mind where you want to place your own, or the map that you're on doesn't have one, for example, Huton Pantai, what you can do is if you go into the build mode, go under factories, and then you can scroll down and find it. Now this one is pretty expensive. It's $525,000, and all you have to do to place it down is decide where you want it, place it down, and then if you want to get rid of it, you can click on it, and then you can hit sell, and you can sell it like that. Now you will take a loss on it if you exit the build menu. Now I got the same amount for what I placed it for because I haven't exited the build menu in between placing it and trying to sell it. So just be aware of that. If you place one down and then you exit the build menu and go back in there to sell it, you are going to take a loss on it. But that's how you place and buy them. Now let's talk about the production inputs. The paper factory is pretty straightforward. It only has two outputs and one input. The input is going to be wood here, which I'm going to use super strength to move the wood into the factory here. But if you want to know how to move wood around and all that, I'll put a card up on the screen right now for you guys to check out my forestry guide, which covers how to get wood, how to do forestry work, and how to move it around if you need to. So just be aware of that. I'm just using using the super strength just for the sake of making this easier to do. But you're going to have this little dump icon, which is going to be in between the paper mill right here or somewhere around it. You're going to move the wood that you want to put into the paper mill near that just by moving it over here. You can drive it on a trailer into here as well if you need to, or however you want to get it in there. And again, that forestry guide will cover that in a little bit more detail. But what I'm going to do is just put a few logs up over here in that icon. So there you go. Now you can see it hasn't taken any of them yet. So you're going to come up to this icon right here, this little exclamation point icon. You're going to hop up here, and then you're going to hit R to enter them into the factory. So now they are going to be inside of the factory for you to be able to use to make stuff. So that's how you put the inputs in. It's pretty straightforward. Now the next thing we need to talk about is actually using this production facility. So we need to access the production menu, which there are three ways to go about that. The first one is go into the menu, go down here to your productions, and then look at your owned ones, which if you're unavailable, you can just go over to owned. That way you can see which ones you own. Select your paper factory, and then you'll be able to see the production menu in here. The other way you can do it is you can go up to the factory itself, and this is even if it's one that's on the map, and you want to find this wrench icon and then hit R, and it'll open you up into the production menu. And the last way, which is probably the easiest way, is if you are on your menu here, go to your map, click on where your paper factory is, and then hit manage right there, and it'll bring you into this menu, which is what we're going to talk about next. Now I just clicked over onto this. Make sure you click over to this to get this highlighted to talk about what we're going to do next. What you basically have here, we have our two different recipes. So we can make carton rolls and paper rolls here. So you can see we have those right here. And if we click on them, it scrolls between them over here. You can also activate them. If I go down here and I click active, this is going to go from inactive to running. And then as soon as this runs out of materials, which right now they have wood in there right now, as soon as it would run out of materials, I'm just going to show you as an example here. I'll just activate this real quick. I know this is not the paper mill, but you see this little red exclamation point right there. it's going to have that there and then say materials missing over in the status. Obviously, this one doesn't matter for us, but when the paper factory is running, if it runs out of wood, it's going to have that little exclamation point up there, and it's going to say materials missing down here. Now, if we go over to this menu right here, we have a few things going on. We have our incoming and outgoing materials. So we have, again, wood is the only incoming, and the outgoing, we can make carton rolls and paper rolls, which is great. Over here on the right-hand side, you can see we have 5,207 liters of wood out of the max capacity of 130,000 liters that this production will hold. Then it also shows you the percentage of how full it is. Same thing down here, except these are the outgoing products. We have 1 liter of carton roll since it's actually producing it right now since I have it running. And then out of the 51,000 liters possible it can hold, and then 55,000 for paper rolls. And then they're at 0% full right now. Then if we move down here to the production point, it has running. Again, I talked about the status. Then we have cycles per month. So this is how many cycles it will do the recipe per month. The recipe's down here, which we'll talk about that. So basically at 24 cycles per month, it's going to do this recipe 24 times a month. If you have your game set to 1 day per month, it's going to do this 24 times per day. If you have it set to 2 days per month, then it's going to do this 24 times every 2 days, and so on and so forth, depending on your settings. The cost per month is also divided out by however many days are in your month, and that is what is going to charge you if you have this production running. So just be aware of that. Now down here, the recipe, it's going to take 420 liters of wood to make 215 liters of carton roll. I know liters is a weird unit for some of the production stuff, but it's just to make it easier when we go to sell and stuff like that, to keep it simplified. So that's how that's going to work, and you can see down here for this one, 535 liters of wood to 230 liters of paper roll. We have a slightly cheaper cost per month, but same amount of cycles per month there. I'm going to go ahead and activate that one as well, just because I can. The last thing we want to talk about is the output. So you have this button down here, change output mode. You can highlight which ones you want to change the output for. You can see they're set to storing right now by default. Storing, what that means is as this is producing carton rolls, as soon as it gets enough on this bar here to produce a full pallet, it'll spawn a pallet, and I'll show you where the pallets are going to spawn. And then it'll keep doing that until it runs out of space to spawn pallets. When there's no room for pallets to spawn, it'll just keep filling up in here until those pallets are moved and it can spawn more. If you have it set to selling, it's going to automatically sell off the products, but it's going to charge you a 20 to 40% cut of what it's selling it for as a fee for selling it off. So just be aware of that. That's why I don't usually recommend having this set to selling. Lastly, if we set it to distributing, it's going to take the materials and it's going to move them to a different factory that requires them as an input. At this time, there's no other factories in Farming Simulator 25 that I'm aware of that take carton rolls or paper rolls. So if you have it set to distributing, it's just going to fill up in here, not spawn any pallets and not do anything for you, but you can do that if you'd like to. It just kind of depends on what you're trying to do. So we'll keep them both at storing just for now, but that's how you use the production point and everything like that. Now, again, the products that we're going to make is carton rolls and paper rolls, and they're going to spawn right out here in this little checkered box area. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fast forward some time here, and we're going to see what our products look like. All right, so it took a couple days to actually get some pallets out here, but that's because they each are 3,000 liters or 3,000 pieces of, well, we have paper roll here, and we have carton roll here. So you can see these are our finished products. They are quite large pallets here, so they're a little bit more difficult to move than regular pallets, but still, they're going to be moved as in moving any other pallet. If you want to know how to sell these, I'll put a card up on your screen that goes into a little bit more detail on how to sell pallets off, but essentially, you're going to come into the menu, go over here to prices, you're going to find what you're looking for, which carton rolls right there. You're just going to find a place to sell it off that takes it. That's the price they're going to pay you per 1,000 liters, and then you're just going to take it there and sell it off that way. Now, if you need to know how to move pallets, we're going to go into that here in a second. I'm going to show a pre-recorded video that will show you how to move pallets of all types. If you already know how to move pallets, just skip ahead to the profitability at the very end, but otherwise I'm going to go ahead and play that right now so that you guys can learn how to move pallets around. To be able to move pallets around in-game, you have to be able to use a pallet fork of some kind on one of these various pieces of equipment, which I'll show you how to do that. Obviously, you can enable super strength if there's a mod out there for that, or if you're on PC and you enable the console commands, then you should be able to activate that. That won't work for console, though. If you do want to learn how to do that on PC, I do have a link to a video down below in the description that will help you enable console commands for your PC game. That way you can just enable super strength. But if you are without super strength or on console, let's talk about the different ways to do this. So, first off, we have a tractor with a front loader attachment. We have a front loader. We have a telehandler, a wheel loader, a skid steer, and a forklift. Now, if you're lifting like very large items or like a lot of forestry stuff, like some of the forestry pallets, like in terms of like wood beams and stuff like that, you may want you may want a wheel loader to do it. Otherwise, a wheel loader might be a little overkill for you, but you can find all these in the store. So I'll show you this. You can also check on your farm if you, let's say, well, for example here, one of the starting tractors is this guy on a lot of the maps. So if you go into here, this guy does have the ability to add a front loader attachment. If you see this in the store, you can hit yes, it'll put it in there. Then you want to confirm your customizations down below if you're customizing it at the shop. Otherwise, you can just go in and you can check anyone and you'll see if they have a front loader attachment or not. This one should. There you go, front loader attachment. Make sure you say yes to that. You can either do quickie, however, or no for those as well. Now, whatever design you decide to go with there, go back out of here, go down to front loaders here, and then pick the correct one. And then you'll see down here there's a horsepower requirement. Whatever horsepower your tractor is, try to get the one closest to your horsepower. You don't want to have this massive one here if it's not going to work for your tractor. You also can go in here, and if I hit... oh, it's not going to be on there. Darn it. Sometimes they'll show up with customizations below to be able to add a front loader. This one actually will do it here because this one has a specific one. But sometimes you'll see that and you can just do that. So if that's available, that's the easiest way to find out what one is designed to go with that. Now, if you're going to buy a front loader, telehandler, wheel loader, or skid steer loader, there's a specific process for that. First, go in here. You can either go in here to look at the dedicated front loaders, dedicated skid steers, dedicated wheel loaders, and then, or excuse me, dedicated telehandlers, dedicated skid steers are down here. And then you need to go to their appropriate category. So for a front loader, you need to go to front loader tools, telehandler, telehandler tools, wheel loader to wheel loader tools, skid steer to skid steer tools. Then go in that respective category, find the pallet fork and purchase that. And then you can hook it up to the front of your vehicle. So let's say I bought this guy right here and I bought all these different parts separately. Let me just show you how to disconnect them real quick. So if I hit Q, that'll disconnect that. And then I can also disconnect this. So if you want to use it as a regular tractor, you can also disconnect it. But to connect it, just do it in reverse, line it up, get here, and then you'll see a command down at the bottom to connect, and then just drive up here, and then you can connect here. Now, how to operate these up in the upper left-hand corner, usually it's mouse controls if you're on PC. It'll be different controls for you if you are on console. But you can see the advanced controls up there in the upper left-hand corner. If I hold down right mouse button, it shows me what those controls are. Left mouse button shows me what those controls are. So that'll be how you can do your controls. Now, finally, if you wanted to buy a forklift, forklifts are also very easy to buy. They're a dedicated unit for this. So if you go in here, just go under forklifts and choose whichever one you would like to buy there. So there you go. That's how you move pallets around on all platforms. All right, so that was how to move pallets. Now let's take a look at the profitability here. Now, first off, this is linked down below in the description, this nice, lovely chart that I've created. If you want to use it for yourself, you can do that. You obviously can't edit mine, but you can download a copy of it if you'd like to. Using that link down below, you can go ahead and adjust it and do whatever you want. It's a Google Sheet, or make a copy of it for yourself, and then you can adjust it from there. So anyhow, this has all the different productions on it that we're going through in this, basically going through my series of doing production guides. So as I do more, there'll be more products in here, more productions in here. So I'm constantly editing it and changing it and stuff like that to keep it up to date. But you can see we have the paper factory here at the very bottom. We have our two products here, carton rolls and paper rolls. We have their inputs right here. They're each 24 cycles a month. This is the input amount in wood, so 420 liters of wood. That's how much that input costs, so that's how much you'd make if you sold the wood separately. And then we have the output amount of 215 liters of carton roll, which that's how much you're making from that. And then we have the profit per cycle here, which is pretty good. And then profit per month, if you multiply basically the profit per cycle times the cycles per month. And then at the very end here, it has the input of how much wood we're going to need to keep this running. And then we also have the output of how much we're actually going to produce each month with our paper mill. So paper mill is actually a fairly profitable production if you're going to make paper. So it's not too bad to do for sure. Now these values, I have them all in here. You have the carton rolls, paper rolls, and then they have wood up here. If you wanted to change any of these are just based on the averages for normal economy mode. So if you wanted to change it because you get a better price or a different price, normally in your game, you can do that once you download it. And if you adjust the price in here on this sheet, it will reflect on here. So if I adjust it, it will change it. And then the last thing I want to talk about is the paper factory being divided or not. So the paper factory, unfortunately, is a divided production, and I'll kind of explain what that means here. So if we go back into the game itself, we go into our factory menu, which actually might be easier if I just do it this way. Paper factory, here we go. We have both of these active. So I'm going to turn them off for now just to kind of help demonstrate this a little bit. So since this is a divided production, we have basically two production lines basically going. So we have one factory, but we have two lines of production, carton rolls and paper rolls. If I have this one activated, well, it's going to produce 24 cycles of this per month, so 24 times the recipe. Now, if it is a divided production, unfortunately what that means for this one is if I activate this one now, it is going to be divided in half because there's two things running. So instead of 24 cycles per month, it's going to be 12 cycles per month. And instead of 24 cycles here per month, it's also 12. So it'd be 12 and 12 because they're divided. If it was an undivided production, which this is not, then these would both run at 24 cycles per month, even if they're both activated. So just be aware that with the paper factory, if you're choosing to run both of them, it's going to cut your production in half for both of those because it's dividing up its resources basically to run both those productions. So just be aware of that, but otherwise everything else is pretty straightforward. And that's what I got for you guys in terms of the paper mill. If you guys enjoyed, please drop a like down below. If you have any questions, please let me know down in the comments. But yeah, if you guys have not already, please hit that subscribe button up on the screen so you guys can join the Farmer Cop channel and turn the notification bell so you don't miss any future videos I may post. This has been Farmer Cop. Thank you guys for coming and for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one.